Hi everyone, my name is Kaylee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay guys, so if you can't tell, I got my hair done. I'm still getting used to it. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but the lady said if I want to come back in and get a few lowlights up front, then I can. I don't know if I'll do that, but yeah. And a lot of you have been asking for a skincare routine. I'm going to show you the products that I use for my skin. There's a storm coming. Anyways, a lot of you guys have been asking for a skincare routine, so I'm going to show you guys the products that I use. My skin doesn't look that well right now because I have been wearing a lot of makeup, but one of my holy grail products is the Origins Checks and Balance Frothy Face Wash. This is what it looks like. And my skin can get very dry, so I like to use the Eczema Calming Vaseline Moisturizer. This is what it looks like. You can get this at Target. And you can also get the face wash at Sephora or Ulta. And one of the last products that I use is the niacinamide from the Inky List. It's like $7, the best thing I've ever used. This is what it looks like, and this is also from Sephora. Now that I got that out of the way, today's makeup look is not going to be a crazy one. It's going to be a subtle one because I'm trying to find a new makeup routine, like an everyday makeup routine. So hopefully, while I'm telling you guys this story time, I find my perfect no makeup routine. But without further ado, I'm going to bring you guys up close. There we go. Okay, for those of you who are new here, I'm going to tell you guys my quick usual little rundown. For most of the video, I will be looking in this direction because my mirror's over here and I would like to see what I'm doing. I do tell these story times in a first person point of view, so if you don't like that, then you can leave. And these story times are sent in by anonymous people. Oh my god, I have to take a deep breath after that. So story time about my sophomore horror story. So a little background information. I was 16 and a sophomore in high school, obviously. And I had been dating this guy who we're gonna call Matt for about a month. We met at the beginning of the summer at this cookout that my mom's work had every year. And apparently I had been going to school with him since I was in kindergarten, which was weird because I had no idea who the hell this kid was. But from what I heard, it was mainly because people thought that he was quiet and weird, so he did not have that many friends. So eventually we started hanging out every day during the summertime, and I introduced him to all of my friends, and literally all of my friends adored him. Not to mention he got along great with my guy friends too, which I had a lot of because my dad was the coach of the football team at the high school. But anyways, I was just happy that he was kind of making some of his own friends in a way. I mean, not technically, but I was just happy that he was making friends, okay? Because nobody should have to eat alone every day at lunch or just not have anybody to talk to in general. But him and I ended up becoming best friends. We would hang out every single day, like literally every single fucking day. And eventually, a month later, he asked me to be his girlfriend. And in all honesty, it was like the sweetest thing in the world. He had just gotten his license, so he drove over to my house and he brought me this huge teddy bear with this cake that said, "Will you be my girlfriend?" And he also put this card in there that said, "I'm so happy you came into my life. Before, everything was so black and gray, and I never had any goals or anything to look forward to. But ever since I met you, I've seen the world in a different light. I actually wake up every morning knowing that I have something to live for. And you are all that I think about. Thank you for being the most amazing person I've ever met." So cute. Now, listen, I know that low-key sounds depressing as fuck, because pretty much it is. But my mom did say that whenever his mom and her talked, his mom said that he had really bad depression and anxiety pretty much his whole life. But after his dad died 3 years ago, it got way worse. And they eventually had to put him on an extremely high dosage of antidepressants. And he even went into a mental hospital after he tried to unalive himself, which made things even worse because once the word spread around, he was known as the kid who tried to unalive himself, which really didn't help his case at all. But I guess this was all stuff that his mom and my mom talked about whenever we first started hanging out, because recently his mom called my mom to tell her that she wanted to thank me because she hasn't seen her son this happy in years. Like, apparently he would talk to a therapist 4 times a week, but after 2 weeks of hanging out with me / knowing me, he only talks to her once a week now. Look at me out here doing God's work. Period. Anyway, she also said that he just seems more full of life. But our relationship was perfect, to be honest. He would send me these huge paragraphs every morning whenever I woke up. He would also come to my house every day. We went on dates like 3 nights a week, and the nights that we couldn't go on dates were the nights that he was working to make more money for us to go out on more dates. He was pretty much just like my knight in shining armor, okay? Now, I was an only child, and my dad and Matt got along super well. They would watch sports together. He would even come over my house before I even got home from my cheer practice just to hang out with my dad. And the one night while my dad, my mom, and I were sitting at dinner, we were talking about Matt, and my dad said that he felt really, really bad for Matt because Matt admitted to him earlier that day that he never had that father-son relationship with his dad, even before he passed away. So he looked at my dad as the closest person to a father figure that he had pretty much ever had. But that made me happy because my dad thought of him as like his own son. Anyways, he was never involved in any activities in school or any sports. But my dad talked him into trying out for the football team. And this made me super happy because, you know, whenever you're in a relationship with someone and you just want the best for them, that was like one of these moments. Like, I knew life was shit for him before, but everything seemed to be looking up now. So he ended up making the team, which was not a surprise at all because all of his older brothers played football. And before Matt and I met, Matt's mom didn't want him spending every single day alone up in his room. So he would usually be forced to go outside and play football with his brothers every day. Anyways, fast forward to the first day of school. He picked me up and we both went to school together that morning. And I'm not gonna lie, since I met Matt, he has had like the best fucking glow up ever. Now, I'm not saying that as in like I caused it, but you know how whenever you get to like a low point in your life and you just literally could give 2 fucks about what you look like, you stop taking care of yourself? Well, that was Matt, except now he actually put effort into his outfits. He would do his hair, and I was just so proud of him and so happy for him. But holy shit, did I not know what problems this would fucking bring me. So I was kind of known around school, okay? Like I said, I was friends with pretty much every guy on the football team because my dad was the coach. And I was also a cheerleader, so I had a lot of girlfriends. Now, this meant that everybody pretty much knew who I was dating. And now even more people know Matt because since he's on the football team, he was now in that clique, so everybody knew who my boyfriend was. Which I didn't care about it at first because, you know, you kind of want to show your significant other off. But after the first day of school, we both went to my house after. And it was super weird because he kept getting Snapchat notifications, right? Now, this wouldn't be weird, but ever since I met him, he always said that he hated social media. He said that it was super toxic and he just didn't see the point in having it. So in a playful way, I was like, oh, like you're super popular for someone who doesn't have Snapchat or something along those lines. And he was like, oh yeah, a few of the guys on the football team told me to get it and people have just been adding me all day. So I was super annoyed because he didn't even ask me what mine was. Like, he didn't text me and say, hey babe, got Snapchat, what's your Snapchat? And I was like, oh, let me see your phone, I'll add myself. And when I went to go and add myself, literally everyone who was adding him were fucking the junior and senior girls. So now I'm even more annoyed than I was before. So after I give his phone back, I'm like, so how do you know all those girls? And at this point, I guess he realized that I was upset / weirded out because he gave me a hug and said, don't worry, it's only the first day of school. I'm not going to throw you away for one of these girls that I don't even know. Which made me happy. You know, he was reassuring me that these girls had no chance of getting with him. And things were kind of normal for the next few weeks. I mean, he wasn't sending me good morning texts like he used to, but we were both busy with school, so I was trying to be understanding. He also stopped taking me out on dates and would leave my house early every night because he said that he was extremely tired and he would be on his phone the whole time when he was at my house. Anyways, fast forward to the first football game. Our school won and Matt came over after, gave me a hug and a kiss. And Matt and I had already talked about what we were gonna do after if they won, like how we were gonna celebrate. And the original plans were to go out to dinner and then we would go and see a movie. But whenever he came over to me, he was like, I'm gonna go to this party that Sabrina's throwing. Now, Sabrina was one of the seniors, and I only really knew her because at the beginning of the season, we would have cheer sleepovers at her house with everyone on the cheer squad, duh. Anyways, every time it would be at her house, even though she wasn't even a cheerleader, but her mom was the coach, so that's probably the reason why. Anyways, her and I weren't even close, but the only other thing that I did know about her was she had a reputation for screwing guys that had girlfriends, especially guys who were younger, because she said they were more gullible. I don't even think I would argue with her on that one. But anyways, she also said that she was doing these girls a favor because if they didn't cheat, that meant that they actually liked their girlfriends. But if they did, then she was helping show their true colors. And 99% of the guys that she went after would fuck her. And then the other small 0.1% that didn't want to do anything with her, she would get them drunk and they would do stuff together. Yeah, which I'm pretty sure is illegal. But anyway, so like I said, he told me that he was going to go to Sabrina's party, so I was like, okay, that's fine. Could we stop at my house so I can get changed and then we can go? And he looked down at the ground and he goes, yeah, you're not invited. Like, what the fuck? So I asked him why, and he's like, well, only people on the football team are allowed. And I was like, well, that's bullshit, because half of the girls on the cheer squad were literally talking about this party. And I'm a cheerleader, so I should be invited. And he was like, yeah, the only reason why you heard some of them talking about it was because only juniors and seniors are invited. So now I'm confused. I'm like, well, why the fuck were you invited? And he's like, well, those rules don't apply for freshmen and sophomores who are on the football team. Like, okay, bud. So I asked him if he can at least take me home, you know, that would be the decent thing to do. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. He goes, I can't because I have to go straight to my house and change, and then I have to pick up a few people on the way there. So of course I'm fucking upset. Of course I want to fucking cry, but I can't because then I'm gonna look like pathetic as fuck. But I felt like I didn't even know who Matt was in that moment, because my Matt would have gone, if this makes you uncomfortable, I won't go. Or he would have told Sabrina, fuck you, if you want me there, my girlfriend's coming. So I got a ride home with my dad, and he was like, oh, where's Matt? Because he also knew about our fucking plans. And when I told him what happened, he could 100% tell that I was upset. But he was like, you have to be understanding, okay? He's never had friends before. He's never felt like he's belonged anywhere. Think about if you were in his shoes. At that point, I pretty much told my dad to shut the fuck up and leave me the hell alone. So fast forward to around 10 o'clock at night. I'm still crying like a fucking baby, especially because I haven't gotten a text or a call from him being like, hey, you know, just anything. I would have said it for literally anything. But finally, I get a Snapchat from him, and it's Sabrina taking the fucking picture, and she has her head like rested on his shoulder like this. Wow, my night just keeps getting better. And I know Sabrina's house like the back of my fucking hand because of all the cheer sleepovers and all the parties that I went to, because I was invited to every single fucking party that she had. I was literally even in the group chat where she sent out mass text message saying, hey, party at my place, da 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 da. Anyways, they were on this couch that was up inside her room, right? Now, the rooms were off limits unless you were going to do something in one of the rooms with someone. Obviously, her room was closed off unless she wanted to go up there and do something with someone. So I don't even respond to the Snapchat because I'm literally fucking furious and I don't want to give her any satisfaction of knowing that I'm pissed off. But to make it 10 times worse, I go on to Snapchat and I see Matt and Sabrina on everyone's story who's at the party. And the one was a picture with both of them passed out on the couch in her bedroom with her legs over his. And then there was a video that this one kid, Adam, who was also on the football team, there was a video that he took on the fucking story. And it was a few of the other guys and him running up to Matt while he's sleeping on the couch. They were shaking him and waking him up and saying, oh, did you and Bree fuck? Like, da-da-da-da-da. Like, Matt, did you fuck Bree? So, since it was only 2.5 hours into this party, and usually these parties went on till like 3 a.m., unless you were sleeping over, which 90% of the people usually did sleep over, and I would know because I was in that 90%, and so were the guys who Bree planned on sleeping with. So I had to make a decision fast, okay? Either one, I could go and crash this party, right? But also look like a dumbass because my boyfriend went without me in the first place. Number two, I could commit arson. Or three, I could do the most logical fucking thing ever. I could call the police and make a noise complaint. So that is exactly what I fucking did. I called the cops and I told them there was a lot of noise coming from Sabrina's address. Also, I said that there were teenagers outside, drunk, laying on the street, throwing beer cans all over the road, and they were vandalizing cars. I literally made up every single fucking lie in the book. I'm crazy. So 30 minutes after I do that, I see a video on someone's private story that says when the party gets busted, and it's them and like 20 other kids running into the woods in the back of Sabrina's house. So the next morning I text Matt and I'm like, hey, I saw what happened last night. Are you okay? Like I give a fuck. But he didn't fucking answer for like an hour, so I called him and he finally answers, and I told him we needed to talk about last night. So an hour later he comes over to my house. And I was like, listen, Matt, I'm really trying not to be the crazy girlfriend because that's not me. But those pictures and videos that I saw on everybody's stories last night were super fucking inappropriate. For someone to even ask you if you fucked another girl while you're in a relationship, not to mention you being alone with her up in her room, pretty much laying on each other. He looks at me wide-eyed and he's like, that never happened. Don't you just love whenever people lie and you have the proof and you know what they did, but they lie anyway straight to your face, and you're just sitting there and you're like what the fuck? So I was like, okay, well go check your friend's stories. So he grabs his phone and it's dead, of course. So then I give him mine and he unlocks it. And it's still on my call log from earlier whenever I called him, and he sees the 911 call. Just great. And I didn't even know, so I'm just sitting there like la da 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 until he shoves the phone in my fucking face. And he's like, were you the one who called the fucking cops last night? And I was like, no, like I accidentally sat on my phone and the emergency thing went on and it called the cops. But he didn't believe me because, let's be honest, nobody would believe anyone in that situation. It's not a fucking coincidence. But then he starts yelling about how he could have gotten an underage. And if you don't know what an underage means, it pretty much means that you were caught doing something under the age of 21, like drinking or whatever. I don't know. And then he's like, I also could have got a DUI because I had to drive home drunk. So I'm screaming at this point. I'm like, don't fucking flip this around on me. Like, I had no fucking choice. And I showed him the videos and the pictures. After that, he apologizes. We talk it out. But then 20 minutes later, he says that he has to go. Which was weird because it's literally Saturday. And we always hung out on Saturdays. So my best friend Maggie is a junior, and I called her to talk to her about everything and tell her what the hell was going on. And she was like, yeah, Sabrina had told everyone to post those pictures on their stories. Also, Adam took that video like an hour before it was posted. He showed it to her and then she was like, oh my god, you need to post that on your story. And everyone pretty much knows that it was you who called the cops. And when I asked her how, she was like, well, first of all, none of her neighbors have ever called the cops on her for having a party, and two, your boyfriend kind of spilled the beans. What a fucking snake. And to be honest, I'm happy that she knows because she shouldn't have fucked with me in the first place. So fast forward like 2 weeks, Matt is still pissed off about the situation. When he would pick me up in the morning, he would barely talk to me, and when I asked him what was wrong, he would be like, oh, I'm just tired. And he stopped coming over to my house as much. He would barely answer my text messages. It felt like we weren't even dating. It felt like it was the end of a friendship. Yeah. It really just felt like everything was falling apart and he could care less. He started hanging out with Bree and her friend group every single fucking day. Literally every day. He went to every single party, which coincidentally, I wasn't fucking invited to any of them. And like I said, before we even started dating, I was invited to every single one of these fucking parties. Well, the one day I'm sitting at home and I'm studying because I have a ton of exams the next day before winter break starts. Like, tomorrow's the last day before I have a month and a half off. And all of a sudden, I get a FaceTime from Matt, which is weird because we haven't FaceTimed since before school even started. And I was extremely pissed off at him because the day before this was our 4 months and I didn't get a text, call, or anything from him. He went and hung out with Bree and her friends. By the way, Bree is short for Sabrina. So I decided not to answer the phone, and then literally like 5 seconds later, I get a text message that says, "Answer the phone, bitch." Y'all, I almost fell off my fucking chair. Now, yes, Matt and I were having some fucking issues, but he has never, ever, 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 ever once been disrespectful to me like that. Even whenever he figured out that I called the cops, he didn't call me any names or anything like that, you know? So I sent him a text back and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then he sends a text saying, "My bad." Like, what do you mean, my bad? So then I get another FaceTime call from him and I answer the phone and it's literally him and someone fighting over his phone, and I hear laughing and giggling in the fucking background. And then he finally grabs the phone and he's like, "Oh shit, sorry," and hangs up the phone. Like, what a little piece of fucking trash. So I call him back and guess who answers the phone? Sabrina and her friends. And when they answer the phone, they're like, "Oh my fucking god, like, what do you want? Matt doesn't fucking like you, leave him alone." And then they turn the camera around on Matt and they're like, "Matt, do you really want to be with this ugly ass fucking bitch?" And Matt just doesn't say anything. He literally sits there and covers his face. And a few seconds later, Sabrina goes, "Well, the silence says it all, ha 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 ha." And then Matt just starts laughing. So I fucking died on the inside, literally. Like, I had never had anyone be so fucking mean to me in my life. Like, if you didn't like me, just say that. It's fine, cool, break up with me. But why the fuck are you putting me through this shit? Now, I mean, to be honest, I should have broke up with him. I know, you know, but I guess I just was remembering all the good times that Matt and I had and who he was whenever we first met. So I ignored him the whole rest of the day. The next day at school, he tried coming up to me in between classes. And the next day, I told you guys winter break started. I woke up to 9 missed calls, 23 text messages, and 6 voicemails, all from yours truly, Matt. They were pretty much saying, "I'm so sorry, please talk to me, I love you," and a bunch of other bullshit. But around 6 o'clock that night, Matt showed up at my house with flowers and chocolates. Him and I talk. He apologized for how he was acting. I accepted his apology. We worked on our issues, but actions speak louder than words, so I wasn't completely sold on I'm going to change. But that month was honestly the best month of our relationship since the summertime. We hung out all day, every day. Anytime that Bree texted him saying, "Hey, wanna hang out?" he would be like, "Sorry, I'm with my girlfriend right now," aka me, bitches. Well, the one night my parents went to my grandparents' house to help them set up their Christmas tree. So Matt and I decided that we were gonna drink a little bit, and one thing led to another, and we ended up doing the nasty, which I'm making it seem like not a big deal for it being my first time, but it was a big deal. But I had a feeling it wasn't Matt's first time. Now, when Matt and I first met and we were only best friends, he had told me that he never did anything with anybody before, which I believed 100%. But he already had like 3 condoms in his wallet and he just seemed experienced, okay? Fast forward, every time we hung out, we were doing the deed, and I didn't feel like he was using me for that, to be honest, because nothing else changed. It wasn't like he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna come over and we're gonna fuck and then I'm gonna leave and only text you tomorrow whenever I wanna do it again." It wasn't like that at all. But the one night we were about to do the nasty and he goes, "Oh, like, we should make a video." You know, of course. And I was in love with this kid. Him and I were doing super good at the time, so I didn't think anything of it. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, I don't give a fuck. Fast forward, school starts back up and I have completely forgot about this video. It is like out of my mind, and everything was going smooth sailing with Matt and I, so I wasn't really worried about anything. But the one day Adam invites Matt over, and Bree and her friends just happen to be there. So Matt texted me, he's like, hey, Bree and her friends are here, so I'll be over your house in the next 10 minutes. Like, I'm just gonna try to get out of here fast. But then 10 minutes turned into 3 hours. Yeah. So then 3 hours later, he texts me saying, hey, I'm outside, and I just ignore his text message because I'm not fucking dealing with this. Like, at this point, I'm done. The next day, he hung out with them again. Not a shock. And when he was hanging out with them, I get a text message from his phone, and it's the video that him and I took with a text message saying, ew, what the fuck, with a bunch of laughing emojis. Obviously, I knew this was not Matt. So I'm blowing up Matt's phone, right? And getting no answers until Bree answers the phone. And she's like, bro, you're a fucking slut. Leave Matt alone. He doesn't want to talk to you. So that night, I had people Snapchatting me and texting me basically to let me know that the video was leaked. Like, I already fucking knew that, duh. So the next morning, Matt picks me up for school. And before we get to school, he pulls over into a parking lot so we can talk. And I'm like, why would you let them go through your phone? Do you not care about me? Like, I have been trying to be the best fucking girlfriend I can possibly be to you, be understanding, and every time I turn around, you just keep stabbing me in the fucking back. And he was like, listen, like, I'm sorry. That wasn't my intention. They took my phone and they wouldn't give it back until I promised to stay a little bit longer. But that's besides the point because I don't think we should be together anymore. And my heart officially broke. I asked him why, and he was like, well, everyone saw you naked, and I can't date a whore, let alone someone who was branded as one. And I was like, this whole thing is literally your fucking fault. And he was like, I know, I'm sorry, but what do you want me to say whenever my guy friends bring up the video and start calling you a slut? Huh? Like, I won't be able to defend you. So after I say okay, he told me that I had to get out of the car. And I was like, so what, you can't even be seen with me? And he's like, nope. So I got out and he drove away. So I walked to school. When I got there, I was getting called terrible names. Not to mention, nobody wanted to be seen with me whatsoever. And at the end of the day, I had to have a meeting with Sabrina's mom, aka the cheer coach. And she said that my actions are not what we want representing the team, so she cut me from the squad. And eventually I talked my mom into letting me do homeschool. In a few weeks, I found out that Matt was having you-know-what with Bree since the party after the first football game. But he really did stop during winter break, and then the first day that he hung out with them, they did it again. All while I was going through fucking hell. You know, not to throw myself a pity party or anything, but my heart breaks for myself because I try to help someone out of a dark space, and in return, I get put into their place. But you know what? I will never be the same trusting, giving person like I was ever again. Okay, everyone, that is the end of today's video. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of me, maybe hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to send in your anonymous story time, make sure to click the link down below in the description. But other than that, I will see you guys next week with a new video.